Coach, you made a comment today during the media availability, not just the win last night. You loved the atmosphere and the fans who were there last night for that win over Texas State.
Yeah, I've been I've been super impressed. I mean, not that I didn't already know what the 12th man, the Aggie fans were going to be like, certainly on the SEC weekends, but just been really impressed by the Tuesday night games. One thing I'm going to have to I meant to look in the office today. I need to look at it tomorrow. Is playing at home during spring break. I was concerned that wouldn't be a great crowd, and we had a great crowd. I guess it was a lot of local people that, with children, they were just looking for something to do during spring break. They didn't get to travel or go anywhere, and so we played horrible against Houston, but the crowd was awesome, and I thought last night was great. And I leaned over to one of our coaches and said, man, just imagine as we continue to grow this program and play competitive baseball, and just like we did last night. And I mean, that's what you want. That's why you come to A&M. That's why you play in the SEC is to be a part of atmospheres like that.
For what you built at TCU, when TCU would go into a Big 12 city, a Big 12 town, that was a big series. So 9 games in, Jim, how's it comparing the SEC, do you think, to being in the Big 12?
I mean, I think it's very comparable on the top end. I think, if you look at the rankings right now, which I haven't looked at all, but I know who the good teams are. Texas, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, TCU, they're reeling a little bit right now, won last night, but normally TCU. Those 4 programs, I don't think I'm missing anybody. I think those 4 programs at the top of that conference would compete at or near the top of this conference. And no disrespect to the other schools, but it's the depth of pitching in terms of baseball play. It's the depth of pitching. It's, playing Auburn, and on Sunday, we're 18, 20, we're 25 innings into a series, and they roll out another right-hander that's 94, 96 with 2 breaking balls. And I was like, how in the world is this guy not even pitched yet?
Right.
And he's throwing strikes, and he's got good numbers. And Alabama, I thought, had outstanding pitching, really good pitching. And we swung the bat pretty well against it, at least competed well against it. And so I would say that's the first thing, is just the depth of pitching. And then the atmospheres. There's not that many places outside of Texas or Texas Tech. Oklahoma State, I haven't been to the new ballpark. TCU, certainly for a private school, has awesome atmosphere. But there's just not as many of them. And so, it's that, and that could be a good thing. I think our team, particularly this year, thrives on that. And whether it be at home or certainly on the road, but there's just more of them. When you go to, we went to Alabama, and I had never been to Tuscaloosa personally, and they were telling me, some of our coaches who have been in the league tell me, this is not one of the better atmospheres. I mean, they had 4,500 people every day, and Friday and Saturday night, they got into it. So, I think those are differences. What's not different is baseball, and that's the thing that I wanted to impress upon our team is. Yes, it's the best conference. I think it's probably, arguably the best division of the best conference in college baseball. But at the end of the day, baseball is baseball. If you give up free bases, you're going to lose. And I don't care who you are. And I don't know if this is the greatest. There's not that many super high-end, front-end, Asa Lacy type pitchers in the conference. There's a couple, and we're going to see some of them upcoming. And I think that'll cycle itself back. It's dang sure better cycle itself back for Texas A&M, and it will. Otherwise, I'll never sleep. But yeah, it still comes down to baseball, and the atmospheres are sexy, the TV's sexy, all that stuff is cool, but you still have to play good baseball. And if you play good baseball, you'll win. And if you don't, you'll get your rear end beat.
So having a chance to go to LSU and Alabama and then seeing the other places on the road, you can't help but it's not so much compare, but being at Olsen Field at Bluebell Park, the tradition of that place. But then you've got to make this program your own, don't you?
No, I mean, I'm not,
not changing anything, not blowing it up.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, the program doesn't belong to me. The program belongs to the players. The program belongs to the former players. The program belongs to the former students. That's who the program belongs to. my job and our coaching staff's job is to run and maintain and build on and make it the best it can possibly be for those people, right? My program is Elon in North Carolina.
I see.
That's just the way I look at it. I never looked at TCU as my program. It belonged to the players. Now they have another coach, and good for them, and whatever. But for me, it's more about, obviously, this is a place that has so much tradition, so many things that are great. Like we just handed out Aggie rings today at the end of practice, and
how was that?
It was awesome, man. I mean, I kind of read up on the ring itself and what every little thing represents, and read that to the team before we handed out the rings. I mean, I almost started crying, man. What an honor to be able to. I mean, you earn it. You earn it. That it's not something given; it's something earned. But there's something. I have some envy on that deal. Like how do I get one of these things? So
there's a master's program.
Yeah, I'm good with school, but I'll just settle for an SEC or a national championship ring and just call it my Aggie ring. Maybe maybe one day. But
it's interesting you say that. Jimbo says the same thing, though. He wants to be a school with 2 rings.
Yeah,
the national
that's
championship
what I said.
And the Aggie.
Yeah, that's what we asked Brett and Dylan. That's what we talked about today. But yeah, that's been the most challenging thing, away from the field is. There's a lot of people that have sat in that ballpark for a really long time, and they're used to what they're used to, and I respect that, and so as the coach, I also have a job to recruit players,
correct,
that are 18 years old, sometimes way younger than that, and you're competing with schools that do things differently than Texas A&M. And what is attractive to someone who's been sitting in our stands for 40 years, and someone who plays at 18 to 22 years old, and a kid that we're recruiting at 15 to 18 years old, those things are often very different. So if you haven't noticed, I mean, I'm trying to honor the traditions, or we're trying to honor all the traditions, but also trying to make Olsen Field a place that is competitive and loud. And I know some people are thinking it's too loud, and we're going to learn to adjust those things. We have a brand new sound system. We're trying to figure out, hey, what's the best way to point the speakers? But let me tell you this: when you go to Alex Box Stadium, no one says it's too loud.
Correct.
When you go to Arkansas, we just sent Holly, who's here, who's our marketing person, who's amazing and doing an amazing job. We sent her this past weekend when we were in Alabama. We sent her to Fayetteville for Arkansas, Mississippi State, so she could see what goes on at those places. I've been in a regional in Arkansas. I've been in plenty of games in old Alex Box, now new Alex Box. I know what it's like at Ole Miss, right? And so, and I heard someone say, well, that's those places. We want to be us. Well, it's my job to kind of merge both, and I'm truly not trying to change the school colors, right? I mean, it's just a matter of. And we got a great compliment from Coach Thompson at Auburn. When he left on Sunday, he said, "This is the toughest atmosphere we've played in a while." And even Coach Trout yesterday was talking about how, man, wow, this is different, man. And our players are noticing that. And so, do I love Section 203? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that get things going. Mm-hmm. But we can't just cater the entire production of the game to one section of people. I want to include them, right, for sure. But it's a matter of having the place, I tell you this, when you go to LSU and they're playing Colin Baton Rouge, when we're changing pitchers, it's not Happy Trails, right? No one's softly singing Happy Trails. You can't hear yourself think, and as an opposing team, it scares you to death, right? You have to learn how to handle that. And as their fan base and their players, they love it.
Right.
And so, again, trying to mix all of those things, and there'll be some things that we continue to do and do better and do more of, and there may be some things, like if you haven't noticed, the whole pant length thing,
right. Right.
And, I came back after being here for 20 games or 15 games, and I was like, Aggie Baseball, this isn't like – I didn't like that from the outside looking in, I know Aggie Baseball has gritty, blue-collar mentality, this whole – and I said, my college coach told me one time when he came to watch one of my teams play TCU, and he saw all the guys that some guys had their pants up and some guys had their pants down, and or not their pants down, but the top of their pants, the length of the pants, right? And he said, and he's an older guy, and he said, Jim, do you know what the word uniform means? And I said, yeah, Coach, I know, all the same. He goes, you're not really wearing uniforms, you're wearing outfits. And so anyway, I just was sitting in my hotel room when we were on the road at LSU or wherever it was, or maybe Frisco. I was like, nah, this is something I maybe misread a little bit. And I don't mind. It's okay to be wrong. And so I called our manager and I said, hey, cut all the pants off at the bottom. We're going back to stirrups for now, and we'll see, right. And that may be something we continue to do. But just, I'm learning too.
Sure.
And trying to appease everybody at the same time.
It's as you know, having come in on the other side to be in the other dugout, but with A&M, that grit that you're talking about, Aggie fans love defense, whether it's the wrecking crew for football, whether it's diving on the floor, 50-50 ball over at Reed Arena, Cole Kaler going to the middle, Brett Minnich robbing someone over. They appreciate that defensive part. That becomes part of a team's identity, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think anytime you have a fan base that respects that, it means that's an intelligent fan base, right? I mean, I want to say it's unintelligent, but there's other places that it's sexy to hit home runs. Right. It's sexy to score 50 points in football, but you can't stop anybody. Right. So who cares? Right. And so that when you have a fan base that respects those things, that means they know the sport, right? And so, yeah, it's sexy to hit home runs, but it's also sexy to throw a lot of strikes and make all the plays and take the extra base and come sliding in and jack your team's jacked up, and that's the kind of baseball we want to play. The home runs are going to come and go, but it's that gritty, fundamental baseball, what I call winning baseball. Right. And we put a little thing in the dugout, started just try to do something because you're trying to educate young players is, I write down on this grease board starting last night, winning plays in the game, and, scoring a runner from third base with less than 2 outs, hitting the cutoff man, whatever those things are. And so I think our players are really starting to identify that as to what winning baseball is. Now we just have to continue to execute it on a more consistent basis. I love to watch the joy of a bench, the joy of a dugout. I love seeing that shared joy for one another for teammates. Yeah, you need to ask the players about that. I'll let them explain what has come out of one little heart-to-heart conversation I had with the team a couple of weeks ago. I'll let Minnich and Dylan, Brett and Dylan, explain what goes on in there but that's what's cool about baseball, And sometimes, I believe in what we call dugout intent, right? I don't believe in fake cheering, that's Bush League. I want everything we do in our dugout to be focused on us, on our team, encouraging your teammate. When Brett's at the plate, I want him to feel the entire bench helping him fight through that at bat. We played at a place within the last week, no place to be named. I don't have to name it. Where what comes out of the dugout's not focused on their own team, it's focused on the other team, and that's nothing I ever want to be a part of. And things happen. Guys chirp out little things. They're 18 to 22 years old, and that happens. And you deal with it, but to just have focused things that way, that's Bush League, man. Just coach your team, play your game, we'll play our game, and then we'll see what happens. He's Jim Schlossnagle. This is the Aggie Baseball Hour. That was a longer first segment. When we come back, we will talk with Brett Minnich and Dylan Rock. Next, Mas Fajitas is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Come by, see us at our College Station location. It's off Highway 6 for great food, great drinks, and great service. Mas Fajitas is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. The Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle will continue. Brett Minnich, Dylan Rock, they're next. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. This portion of the Aggie Baseball Hour brought to you by Capital Farm Credit. Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. Student athlete time. Dylan Rock, Brett Minnich joining us. Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle. Great to have you guys here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's awesome being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, I had my first question scripted, but Coach changed everything. What's up with the dugout?
I'll let you take that one. Go ahead.
So Coach had to talk with us because we weren't really putting on runs. So it's like he said, it's like Pringles. You can't just eat one. You can't. Nobody ever just eats one Pringle. Once you start eating Pringles, you just keep eating Pringles.
Now it starts making sense, the post game.
So you just keep getting hungry for those Pringles. So every time we score a run, we come in the dugout, the guy that scores gets a Pringle.
And also, to add on top of that, every time we win, Coach gets a Pringle. So every win, you want the whole can. You want more and more.
I gotcha.
Can't stop.
Is that also why one is given to the post-game interview on TV?
Correct. That is it.
Now, did you get one for radio?
Not for radio.
Okay.
Only
So
TV.
just give, as you guys know, if you watch it, whether it's SEC Network, ESPN, if it's going to be a plus game for us, usually what happens, they torment whoever our player of the game. Well, on radio, we also have it set up in the dugout, so we get our post game. Now, they started going after Cole Kaler last time, then realized he wasn't on TV. This guy was involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
Went after Brett. They started going after you, then realized now he's on radio. They got Jack. They came back to you, though.
Oh, yeah. They surrounded me once they got done with Jackie. So.
Do you guys coordinate that, or is that just spur the moment type stuff?
In the moment, whatever we can find. Brooms, glasses, hats, gloves, all of it.
I had to be impressed that Logan Britt caught 5 gloves post game.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
That was very impressive. Oh, yeah.
As you know, these two are outfielders. Dylan is in left, Brett is in right. So as I brought up Logan Britt, what's it like, the three of you out there? You guys really seem to get along and really seem to chew up an awful lot of ground and cover a lot of ground out there.
Yeah, Coach Early, our outfield coach, likes to joke with us that we have no range out there, so we kind of use that as motivation when we're out there. But, it's great playing out there with Dylan and Logan, and then whoever else comes out there. So it's a fun time out there. We like to have fun.
You were right field at UTSA, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right and center.
Gotcha.
This is my first year playing left.
How's that adjustment?
It's actually, it's not super tough, but it's a lot different. People would think it'd be really similar, but it's really not. It's completely different.
Different angles?
Different angles, reading the swings, reading the way the ball is coming off, lefties with the slice, righty top spins.
You normally get the sun field, but you had it in Alabama this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Left field
it
was
wasn't
the sun
as
field.
bad, though. It was kind of off to the corner, so it wasn't really in my face like it is for him at home.
You've got to adjust to that.
Yeah, here at Olsen, it's pretty bad. Coming when the sun comes down, it's
about 7 or so.
Oh, yeah. Got to deal with it, though.
But that has been an adjustment, not so much an adjustment. Your defense this year, whether you're robbing people, going over in foul territory, you cover an awful lot of ground. As a hitter, it's great to have the 3 hit games, right? The 3 RBI games in the win in Alabama. How do you get by robbing another player, taking hits away, taking home runs away?
I love that more than hitting, to be honest with you, just because, hitting comes and goes, but for me, defense is always going to be there. It's all about effort. It's all about what you put into it. So I just think that making a great defensive play can go a long way rather than hitting a home run on offense.
It's a momentum changer, isn't it?
It really is. It completely stops the other team. And like Coach said, it's just something that we try to pride ourselves on because defense and pitching really does win games.
And the pitching has been really, you get to the starters. I thought Nathan was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
On Friday against Alabama. And when he's like that, look out, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have that. And then you had Will Johnston, I thought, did a fantastic job in that start for him to step up, do that. But then to be able to hand the ball to Chris Cortez, Jacob Polish, they couldn't touch yesterday. Great to see Raleigh Hector in there. And then Brad Rudis, it's almost like he's growing up before our eyes. I thought he was fantastic Friday in nailing down that win, getting the save against Alabama.
Yes, sir. It was big time seeing those guys step up. And like you said, Brad, he just commands pitches, and it's really impressive to watch somebody that young be able to go out there and just compete like he does.
It's really exciting about what's ahead for him
Yes,
in the future. Grand Slam at TU. How was that? From someone who used to be in their system at UTSA.
Well, even at UTSA, just the way those guys acted, I never liked them. It was a great feeling to be able to step on home and throw the horns down. So I was really fired up to get to do that.
Fantastic. Would you rather have a Grand Slam or the cycle?
I'd take the Grand Slam.
Would you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, you guys went nuts, though, when Jack got the cycle.
Oh, yeah. It's Jack. You got to go nuts.
Who also has a Grand Slam this year at Rice. What is it like? Talk to me about this lineup. You have been in different spots, but right now in the 2-hole. So you bat after Cole. You've been in different spots. You get to bat Recently, it's been after Troy, but sometime after Austin Boast. Talk about how this lineup is so long and really stacked.
Well, I mean, we can just hit all the way through. We have a lot of guys with a lot of talent that can really swing the bat. And with the way that it's set up, it's just really hard for a pitcher to try to get around one guy because the next guy behind him is going to be able to hit too. So there's really no holes.
Oh, yeah, like you said, we're long 1 through 9. We got Logan Britt down there in the 8-hole, who's probably the best 8-hole in the country. And I think Austin Boast moving to second has really done a lot for us. He's willing to put himself out there for the team and go up to coach and say, hey, can I play second base and make this lineup a little bit longer and better? So like he said, pitchers don't want to see that 1 through 9. They don't have any breaks in the lineup.
There's none, because even 9, whether it's Jordan Thompson, the way Taylor Smith can hit the ball, that Chandon's going to be a hitter. We know that. So you're right, there's none. And Cole kind of sets the tone for you all. He doesn't give away at bats, and you get a chance to see a lot of pitches when he's in that leadoff spot, don't you?
Exactly. Get to find my timing whenever I'm over there on deck, get to watch what he's trying to attack Cole with, and it's nice. Cole's always competing, trying to win every pitch.
For you, what's been the biggest adjustment?
Just trying to see the ball, be as simple as possible. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself at the beginning of the season and just pressing and wasn't being myself. I wasn't just trying to make it as easy as possible. I was making it way more than it should have been.
You analyze a lot, correct?
I do. I overthink a lot.
Coach had said that to me.
I overthink a lot.
And sometimes you're just keeping it simple, right?
Yes, sir.
Brett, you're not the same hitter. What's been the change?
Really, since this new coaching staff came in, they've really pride themselves on using the whole field to hit, and I think that's gone a long way with me. Last year I was pulling off the ball. I was trying to get two-pull happy, and just getting back to who I am. Before I came here, I was someone that used all the fields. So getting back to that, hitting low liners has really done a lot for me.
And in a case, what we've seen just in the last couple of games, you've used all fields, right? And that's really what the pitcher's going to give you instead of trying to fight that. If you're trying to pull everything and it's outside, you're just going to roll over,
exactly.
Correct?
Yeah, I did that in my first at-bat yesterday, so I was kind of mad at myself, but got back in there after that. So,
okay, now the one thing I want to bring up before we go to break here, when I looked up Brett Minnich basketball at Colleyville Heritage, okay, your senior year, you were listed at 6'6". Was that basketball height? When did you lose an inch of height?
I would say that was basketball height. Like they do in basketball, they like to add an inch there. So, yeah.
Just to make you guys tougher? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Hey, more intimidating when you come out of the locker room and say, oh, that guy's 6'6", and he runs out there, he's like 6'3". So.
I also have to tell you, I had to look up Huddle, right? So I look up the highlights on Huddle, and the first game I pull up, and the very first highlight, he takes an inbound and just fires away. Yep. There was no passing.
Nope.
You took the inbound right at the top of the key. You hit it now. You hit
it.
But
that's why I put it on Huddle, right?
That's exactly right. We'll have more with Dylan Rock. We'll have more with Brett Minnich when the Aggie Baseball Hour rolls on. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. Stay with us. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. This portion of the Aggie Baseball Hour is brought to you by our friends at Walk-Ons. Hey, 12th man, there's really no better way to describe the uniqueness of Walk-On Sports Bistro. We start every dish from scratch, use fresh ingredients to bring our mouth-watering Cajun cuisine to life. And whether you're here for dinner with the family, for date night, cocktails with the girls, or to watch a game on the big screen, always happy to share our Louisiana culture with you. Walk-Ons, proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. The Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle continues. We're with Dylan Rock. We're with Brett Minnich. Okay, so this just happened during the break, so I have to ask you guys, do you remember your first autograph that you gave?
I can't say I do, no.
I do not.
What was as you get asked for your autograph, what's the feeling like?
It's kind of surreal because I remember being that kid whenever I would go out to the games and just be so excited to be able to get the players' autographs. It was just the coolest thing.
Now that's you.
I know. It's crazy.
Brett?
Like you said, it's just surreal. You don't think about it when you're that young, dreaming about being a Division I baseball player. But when you get here, you kind of look back on it. And you're like, I was once that kid getting that autograph. So it's just really cool to see.
You can't get that baseball or anything from them quickly enough to do that for them, right?
Right.
What an impact, right? That's fantastic. Brett, how much did Blinn help you to your success now?
I think it helped tremendously. Short story here. Late bloomer, I guess you could say. I wasn't on varsity until I was a senior in high school for baseball. Didn't have any offers coming out. Actually walked on at Blinn. So coming out of there, I just grew it into my body, started hitting better, and then that's kind of where everything blew up. So I think it helped me tremendously because I wouldn't be here today without that.
I think one of the great stories for Dylan Rock is Nolan Cain, when he was at LSU, saying we couldn't get the guy out when you played at UTSA. I think that's the greatest statement you can make if you want to bring a player into your program. But you had told us before the season started on our Studio 12 show, you were kind of a man without a team there for a little while, weren't you? After UTSA, there was no coach here, right?
Oh, here.
Yeah. Texas A&M.
So I was just, whenever I decided that I wanted to enter the transfer portal, I knew A&M was always a great option. It was where I wanted to go out of high school, and they didn't have a coach at the time. And whenever I saw that Coach Schloss got the job, I was like, that would be really cool to go play for him. And then Coach Cain called me, and I was speechless. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It was the coolest thing ever, and I was like, I know that's where I want to go. I know I want to be an Aggie.
You were not only aware, you were coming to football Saturdays, right? Being from the area, you knew all about.
Oh yeah, I'd been to a few games. I'd seen what the atmosphere was like, so I knew what I was getting myself into. I was excited. 12th man.
For you, was it almost like being recruited again?
It was. I was being recruited from other schools too, and it was crazy to go through the process again. I never thought I was going to have to go through that again.
Yeah.
Being able to talk to all these other schools and make my decision and narrow things down. I was going through that, but as soon as Coach Cain called me, I knew.
But Brett, you walk on to Blinn, so then your recruitment starts while you're there, correct? How was that process?
It was kind of slow for me at first. Freshman year happened. Thought I had a good season. Thought I was going to be able to try to go somewhere. Didn't really pick up. And then sophomore year came, and actually Coach Schloss tried to get me at TCU. So I like to give him a hard time about that. But like we said, it all worked out in the end. So, but yeah, it was just kind of, I was a late bloomer. I started growing to my body. So.
The one thing that I've learned from Buzz Williams in basketball, what he is he talks about gratitude. So as I ask you guys, when baseball was taken away from you because of COVID and it came short, how much more do you appreciate the game now that you get to not only play, but you're playing in front of full stadiums now?
Very much so. That was a very hard time. That was really rough to go through.
I'll bet.
Yeah, like Coach Schloss always says, it should be an honor and a privilege to go out there and play every day. And no matter whether you win or lose the previous day or the previous game, you want to go out there and show what you have. So always being hungry for that next opportunity. We treat every day like opening day.
It's the old line of you don't have to play the game. You get to play the game.
Exactly.
There's a big difference there, isn't it?
Oh, it's a mindset. It's not even just words. It's your mindset. It's being grateful that every day I get to wake up and go to the field and get ready for my next game.
Do you ever think, Ian always asks us a question, I'll ask it of Coach in the next segment, but Ian Curtis always asks us a question. You guys are a part of the culture here. Do you ever think about that, about applying the culture and then at a certain point coming back and knowing the success of this program, you're going to have a hand in the, if you will, the Coach Schloss era?
Yeah, it's big. Like Coach has said previously, the program belongs to the players and the former players, and so when we're gone, we want to be able to come back and be proud of what we started and what they're continuing to build. So that's something that we can pride ourselves on, that we kind of started this first year here with this coaching staff. And so, yeah, it's a great tradition that we have.
Is this also for you to be a part of this and look and be able to look back and really appreciate to be a part of this?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Because this is my one and only year here, it's awesome to be the first team under Coach Schloss, and then I know whenever we get to come back and watch all these next teams play, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome to come back and support the future teams.
That's the legacy of older players, right? To do that for younger players, right? Instead of making it difficult for them, you want to make it as welcoming and as easy, and that's the legacy that you will leave, isn't it?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Right, yeah, like I said, coming back, you want to be able to come back with your kids, with your wife and stuff like that, and be able to be proud of, what you did. Hopefully you can go on a wall somewhere and say that was my team back in 2022.
Yep. Is there any relevance or significance to the numbers that you're both wearing at A&M? Does 23 have any significance? Does 27?
I wore it in junior college. That's about it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So my favorite number is actually 22. So I knew for a fact I wasn't getting that one here. No, I was given that at UTSA, and so it just rolled over to here.
So he gets introduced. We're at Ford Hall of Champions, and Ross Bjork holds up the jersey, and I lean over thinking, I don't know, I might get fired. I don't know. I was like, I guess Will Johnston's getting a new number. He ain't getting 22 any longer. So. Do you guys get attached to numbers? Like, your Twitter is Brett Minnich 17.
Yeah, that was my number growing up. I don't know. It just always had that.
Gotcha.
And then when I started playing basketball, you can't be 17 in basketball. You have to have 1 through 5 numbers. So
yeah.
That one kind of threw it off. So I was 23 for a little bit in basketball. So
okay.
I guess that's where it came from.
Gotcha. The other thing is when you get that, well, I guess it's a couple things. You get that old email, and when you get your first email at like 12, you think you're clever, and then it kind of shows your age. But Kingsley Keke, who played football here, his Twitter handle was Buckets All Day. He doesn't play basketball any longer, but he doesn't want to change it. So, but you've got more underscores than anyone I know in your Twitter handle, right?
Oh,
with the Dylan Rock.
2 of them. That's crazy. Keke went to my high school.
That's right, he did.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, he did. He was a good basketball player now, wasn't he?
He's just a great athlete,
Yeah,
period.
he is. It's great to see him in Green Bay. One of the funniest people I've ever been around.
Yeah. He's a character.
That is an understatement. Give, for our fans, scouting reports on yourself. If you had to give a scouting report, what you do, strengths, weaknesses, give us, Dylan, you start.
Oh, gosh.
I wish you all could see the look that they just gave one another here.
Oh, yeah, fear. I don't even know where to start. As in what aspect?
Let's start with hitting.
Hitting-wise, so what I try to be is a hitter that can cover the whole plate, and I can spray line drives all throughout the field, and then sometimes I can run into one and drive it out of the ballpark.
You also, on the bases, the speed, the 9 stolen bases this year, and it's that aggressiveness, right? Mm-hmm. You guys will always take that extra base. That keeps the pressure on the other team, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure, definitely. Always looking for that next 90 feet. Got to get the numbers a little better there because I've gotten thrown out 4 times, so I need to – it's not the aggressiveness, it's the way I go about it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Brett, scouting report on yourself.
It's a tough one. Like Dylan said, I mean, and like I said earlier, a hitter that likes to use all fields, likes to battle with 2 strikes, not afraid to hit with 2 strikes and put the ball in play or maybe do a job when he's called upon. So,
what I love to watch about this lineup, and I think it begins with Cole, and I absolutely appreciate watching Jack Moss do it. You guys don't give it bats away, and Jack with 2 strikes is really something else.
Oh, yeah.
But you all fight off that pitcher's pitch. You live to get that next pitch. That's when you can really do some damage, can't you?
Trying to get to that mistake. The mistake pitch is what you want. But that's something that we try to do in our offense is be as gritty as possible and win each pitch. Try to, if you don't win one pitch, so what? Win the next one.
He's got to throw it by you 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like bringing back Jack Moss, I was in the hole the other day when Jack was hitting, and Coach leaned over to me, and he was like, Jack Moss has only swung through 7 fastballs on the year. And I was just thinking through that in my head, and I was like, that is crazy to think about. 7 fastball swing and misses? He just puts the ball in play.
There's no panic for him, and it's almost like pitchers. It's the pitcher's pitch, and he just kind of spits on it. You know what I mean? And throw another one. There's got to be so much confidence in the lineup, right? When he's doing that just helps everyone else in the lineup, doesn't it?
For sure. Me ahead of him and anybody who's behind him, just knowing that they're going to have to come at us because they don't want Jack Moss.
Yeah, that's a great point. It was almost like Will Frizzell last year, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Right? You don't want to be dealing with that.
No, you don't.
This has been an absolute joy. Thank you for spending time with here. All the best the rest of the way. We will see you this Thursday, Friday, Saturday as well for Kentucky. But you have a great season. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
He is Brett Minnich. We will have Jim Schlossnagle will rejoin me for our last segment, the Aggie Baseball Hour. Stay with us. We're at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road in College Station. And this is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. Final segment, Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle, ahead of This can't even call it a weekend series. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The one thing we wanted to pass along, parking this weekend. It's going to be something from the 12th Man Foundation. If you do not have a valid parking permit, game day parking cost at Reed Arena will be $10. It will be cash only. That will be for all the athletic events, baseball, softball, and outdoor track and field. The 44 Farms Invitational. That will begin at 6:30 p.m. on Friday. That's the 8th through Saturday, April 9th. So a great family weekend. I know you would like to be across the tracks, watch a little football. Early in the fall, I'm at football practice. There's Coach Schloss, which his coach is. And I'm like, oh, I saw you at practice. And he said, I like to watch other coaches coach.
Yeah.
I thought that was fascinating, Jim.
Yeah. I mean, I like to consider myself a lifelong learner. And, one of the beauties of coming to a place like Texas A&M is you're around the elite of the elite coaches in the country. Jimbo Fisher, Buzz Williams, Coach G, Pat Henry. I mean, come on. I mean, if you and I don't play golf, and I like to go fishing every now and then, but not. If I have the opportunity to go watch one of the the best at what they do what they do, and that can I want to do that. And so, yeah, and I'm a fan. I'm a big college sports fan. I go to everything I can. I watch everything that I possibly can. So, don't have a whole lot of life. I mean, I enjoy college sports, and I really enjoy coaches.
I'm hoping that former shortstop will come to a couple of your games this spring. Jimbo being the shortstop. He went to Clemson first, so hopefully he's been at some games in the past.
Really?
Yeah.
The few times we've spoken, he's from about 20 minutes where I'm from. So,
you're that part of Maryland.
Well, I'm in Western Maryland, right where I grew up in Western Maryland, right where West Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania come together. Mm-hmm. And he's from the northern part of West Virginia, Martinsburg, Shepherd. I mean, just that part and he's literally right across the Potomac River from where I grew up in Hagerstown, Maryland.
That's pretty cool. That's very cool. It's kind of a cradle there. He and Nick Saban and John McKay at USC. The Bowdens as well.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Major League Baseball starts this week. It's one of the reasons why we're playing at 8 on Thursday. But with that will come the Major League Baseball draft. How does that affect recruiting? Jim, how does the transfer portal now affect, because you're going to have recruits in. You were talking about playing in the Frisco Classic and North Texas having recruits there. How do all these different aspects affect your recruiting?
Well, in college baseball, really, the Major League Draft just defines recruiting. Everything is built around, because you commit a player or sign a player doesn't mean that he's going to come to your school, because you've beaten 300 other Division I schools to sign him. Now you're competing with 30 major league teams. And what I like to say is professional baseball has all of the money and none of the rules. We have all of the rules and none of the money. So, that's a tough battle to win, And then you have your own players, a guy like Brett Minnich, who's putting together a great season. And, you want them to achieve their dreams of playing, in the major leagues. And to do that, you have to go through minor league baseball. But I also have a side of me as their college coach where we all know, the adults in the room know both those guys, even if they play in the big leagues, they're going to spend way more of their life not as a baseball player than they are as a baseball player. So getting that Aggie ring, getting that degree complete, or getting as close as you can, even though in their mind they're thinking baseball, we all know that, hey, man, when you're finished playing at 30, that sounds really old, but it's really young, and you don't want to have to go back to college, right, or go back to school. So anyway, just trying to figure all that out. And now that they pushed the Major League Draft back to July, we used to at least know in June, okay, this guy got drafted or this guy's going to sign. We have the rest of the summer to try and figure it out. Now the draft is until the middle of July, mm-hmm. and the signing day is the 1st of August. And we have to renew or not renew a scholarship on July 1st. So it's a horrible predicament to be in, because my job is to put the best possible baseball team and program together for Texas A&M. That's my job. And that some really, really hard decisions have to be made with both incoming players, current players. And then you have the draft and now the transfer portal, and some of those kids, like we had kids that were wanting to transfer. We had one committed to Texas A&M, or two committed to Texas A&M. Hey, they're coming. Or actually 3 committed to Texas A&M. Left-handed pitcher, catcher, and right-handed pitcher that were all coming. But they was like, well, I'm going to wait and see what happens in the draft. And so we spent all the time, effort, and money to get them committed when I first got the job. And then they never, then they signed. And then, so yeah, it's just it is a ever-flowing thing that's never-ending, but it's part of it. I mean, baseball coaches, I think, are the best at dealing with, salary cap, which is what we had.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Which is effectively what it is, and then free agency, which is what the transfer portal is, and then the Major League Draft. So, putting together a roster, you never know what your team's going to look like until the first day of fall.
Before we get out of here, we want to put this as the public service announcement. He's looking for some land west of College Station. Is what he's looking for. So,
yeah, I've really, both my parents grew up on farms, and I found a nice house in Traditions, which I really like, and I've enjoyed living close, living in that community. Just some awesome people, and it's quiet, and no one bothers you too much. But yeah, I'm looking. I'd like to maybe find a little land somewhere. I'd like to stay west of the railroad tracks if possible, so I can get into work easy. But Snook, Somerville, all out that direction. If anybody knows of anyone looking to sell 10 to 50, 60, 70 acres, and maybe I'll become a little farmer. We'll see.
Aggies helping Aggies.
That's right.
That's how
I don't have a ring, but I do need the help.
You got it. Jim, thank you so much. Great hour.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday against Kentucky, 8 o'clock on Thursday, 6:30 on Friday. Saturday, it's a 3 first pitch. And our next Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle is May 12th. That'll be the next time that we join you. For Kevin Menchow, for Jeanette Menchow, for Tony O'Neill, who is the producer of Aggie Baseball in our Learfield studios, and for all of you here at Rudy's, thank you so much for coming out on your Wednesday evening. Wonderful to see you. I'm Andrew Monaco. For Jim Schlossnagle, for our players, Brett Minnich, for Dylan Rock. Again, thank you for being with us. This has been Aggie Baseball Hour with Jim Schlossnagle, and this is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. Thanks and gig 'em.